Every CEO knows the feeling. It is 2 p.m. and the market is dipping. A key executive just resigned and your board is asking for a pivot. In this moment, your heart rates climb and your mind starts to race. You feel the waver. Most leadership training tells you to look outward for a solution, analyzing the data, check the competition, pivot the strategy. But ancient wisdom suggests that the most effective leader don't look out, they look inwards. Today we are exploring a profound lesson from Bhagavad Gita Chapter 6 verse 21. It's a verse that defines the state of perfection for a yogi. But as we all see that the actual blueprint for the ultimate high pressure performance executive is very well defined in this particular verse. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's look at the verse itself. It says, on attaining perfection, the yogi sees the soul through the purified mind and experience inner joy. In this joyous state of pure bliss or samadhi, which is beyond comprehension of the senses, he never wavers from the path. And the quote close. There are three key pillars here that applies directly to you as a leader. Number one is the purified mind. So in business, we call this clarity. Number two is beyond the senses. In business, we call this vision. And number three is the unwavering path. And in business, we call this execution. The word suggests that never wavering isn't a result of willpower or being tough. It's a result of a specific internal state called samadhi. The word state, with seeing through purified mind, what does a dirty or a cluttered mind look like for a CEO? It's a mind filled with noise, fear of failure, the egos, and need for validation. Also, distraction of the short-term gains. All the distraction that you may get because of the short-term gains. When your mind is cluttered, you aren't seeing reality. You are seeing a projection of the reality. You react to the news rather than responding to the truth. Learning in the context of this verse isn't about reading more spreadsheets. It's about purifying the lens. When a leader purifies their mind through meditation, reflection, or radical honesty, they see the soul of the business. They see the core purpose, and when you see the core clearly, the external chaos loses its power, which would eventually distracted you. But then you are, saving yourself from that distraction. Next, the Gita mentions a joy that is beyond comprehension of the senses. This is the part which most business schools miss. We are taught to rely entirely on our senses. What we can see in a report, hear in a meeting, or touch in a product. But the most iconic leaders think like Steve Jobs, Indra Nooyi, or Howard Schultz often made their biggest move based on something beyond the senses. They had an inner conviction that defied the current data. Bhagavad Gita calls this samadhi. For a CEO, this is the flow state. It is that moment where you are so aligned with your purpose that you experience a quiet inner joy even in the middle of a crisis. Why is this joy important? Because if your happiness depends on your stock price, which is a sensory input, you will waver every time the market fluctuates. But if your joy comes from an internal alignment with your mission, you become a bulletproof CEO. The final promise of the verse is the most important, and that is, he never wavers from the path. In the corporate world, wavering is expensive. It leads to confused teams, wasted resources, and lost market share. Leaders waver because they are searching for external certainty. But as verse 21 teaches us, certainty is an inside job. When you have experienced that inner joy and pure bliss of clarity, you no longer need the world to tell you that you are right? You stay the course because you know the course. This isn't stubbornness. Stubbornness is an ego-driven refusal to change. Unwavering leadership is a soul-driven commitment to a truth that you have perceived through clear mind. So how do you apply this today? You don't need to move to Himalayas to find that state. You find it in the micro moments of your day. Before your next meeting, take 2 minutes to purify the lens. Strip away the ego and the fear. Ask, what is the core truth here? When things go wrong, check your joy. If your peace is gone, you have slipped back into the world of senses. Reconnect with your why. Commit to the path. Once you see the truth through a clear mind, trust it. The best leaders never waver because they aren't following the world. They are leading from a place where the world cannot touch them. So friends, go forth and lead with that unshakable clarity. We have come to the end of our lesson today. Before I close this session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Well, $60 billion, that's more than the entire valuation of many Fortune 500 companies, right? It's twice what NASA gets in a year, and it is the price tag of a single option. Elon Musk just secured, for SpaceX. Yesterday, the world of aerospace and AI collided. SpaceX officially announced a strategic partnership with Cursor, the AI coding startup that has taken the developer world by storm. But this isn't just a partnership. SpaceX now holds the exclusive right to buy Cursor for $60 billion by the end of 2026. Why would a rocket company, one that just merged with XAI and is targeting a 1.75 trillion IPO, drop that kind of cash on a code editor? Is it just about helping engineers write faster apps, or is this the missing link that finally makes the city on Mars a reality? Today we are deconstructing the SpaceX Cursor deal, the colossal supercomputer, and why the road to the red planet is now paved with billions of lines of AI generated code. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed with our analysis. If you aren't a developer, you might not realize how big Cursor has become. It's a fork of the VS Code, but it has been a rebuilt from the ground up with AI at its core. It pioneered what enthusiasts call the vibe coding, the ability to describe a complex feature in plain English and watch the AI architect the entire file structure, logic, and test in seconds. And therefore, we need to consider this statistics. ARR over 2 billion today, projected to hit 6 billion by year end. And what is the reach? Used by over 50% of the Fortune 500 company. And what is the most important thing? It is not just a chatbot. It is a tool that understands your entire code base. SpaceX isn't just buying a tool. They are buying the distribution channel to the world's best engineers. But there is a catch. SpaceX has two choices: pay 10 billion for a joint development partnership or pay $60 billion for the whole thing. It's a try before you buy deal at a galactical scale. To understand why this matters, we have to look at the hardware. Back in the February 2026, SpaceX merged with xAI. In that merger, SpaceX inherited Colossus, the world's most powerful AI training cluster running on roughly 1 million NVIDIA H100 equivalents. Before this deal, Cursor was a bottleneck by the computing power. They were using model from OpenAI and Anthropic. But now Cursor is moving into the SpaceX family. They get direct access to Colossus. Imagine taking the world's most intuitive coding interface and plug-in it to the world's largest supercomputer. We are talking about training a personal super intelligent specifically for engineering. This isn't about building another Grok for Twitter. It's about building an AI that can design a Raptor engine, simulate orbital mechanics, and debug the flight software of a starship in real time. Elon Musk has often said that the hardest part of Starship isn't that rocket, it is the machine that built the machine. To put a million people on Mars by 2050, you need thousands of starships. You need autonomous propellant plants on Martian surface. You need life support system that never fails. The software complexity required to manage a multi-planetary logistics chain is mind-boggling. Currently, writing that software takes thousands of human engineers and millions of man-hours. But with Cursor integrated into SpaceX stacks, accelerated prototyping will be a reality. AI can generate ground control software for the 2028 lunar mission in a fraction of time. It can also achieve autonomous debugging. On a 6-month journey to Mars, you can't wait for a patch from Earth. The ship's AI need to find a fix on its own and also debug the whole software. Next, it is going to create a stairway to Mars. This acquisition suggests that SpaceX is pivoting from being a launch provider to vertical tech stack. Their own internet, which is Starlink, their own AI, which is xAI. Now it could be Cursor also, and the transport, which is the Starship. Let's talk about money. This deal comes just as SpaceX prepare for its rumored 2026 IPO. Analysts are targeting a listing valuation of 1.75 trillion. By securing Cursor, SpaceX is signaling to Wall Street that they aren't just a transportation company, they are deep tech combination of various companies. If they can prove that their AI integrated engineering can cut the cost of reaching Mars by 90%, a 60 billion acquisition start to look like a bargain. However, not everyone is convinced. Critics point to the Anthropic shock earlier this year that wiped billions of IT giants. They ask if this a visionary move or is it another overvaluation in a red hot AI market. Whether SpaceX Cursor buys the Cursor for $60 billion or stay in a $10 billion partnership, one thing is clear. The future of space exploration is no longer just about fuel and physics. It's about intelligence. If Starship is the body that takes us to stars, the AI acquisition is the brain. We are watching the birth of the company that controls the physical and the digital infrastructure of the next century. So, friends, what do you think? Is $60 billion fair price for the key to the red planet? Or is the AI bubble reaching escape velocity? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into technology shaping our future. I'm CK and I will see you again in the next one. Before I go, I like to say a few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.